Hello YouTube, this is Sean Patrick Ryan Smith, the pipe smoking specialist, and today's episode is brought to you by the lovely people at Tommy's Cigars and Tobacco because they gave me a new acquisition. But before we get to that, I just want to show you guys, again, I'm smoking my friend here, Kosher Boy, named after the hetman of the Cossacks, because this is something Cossacks would have smoked in the Ukraine. Which now brings us to the actual video we're doing today. For all of you Cossacks out there, you probably do not like the Sultan, and you probably want to write him some hate mail. And unfortunately, today we're talking about Sultan's personal smoker. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, meet my new friend, the Blukah. This is actually from Tommy's Tobacco and Cigars. They gave it to me, and I appreciate that. And we're going to talk a little bit about hookahs today. Back when I was in the U.S. Army, hookahs are considered contraband, or shall we call it marijuana paraphernalia. That's a load of crap, but whatever, I'm not going to argue. Uncle Sam's Army says it is. I'm not going to fight that system. Or, I'm not in Uncle Sam's Army anymore, so I can own one. Personally, I do like the hookah. I actually think it's kind of a neat thing. Most of you guys that were in the Army, went over to the Middle East, you probably picked one of these up as one of those lovely souvenirs you brought home. It's actually a nice smoker, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. For those of you who've never smoked a hookah before, we're going to break it down. Hookahs are actually made up of several parts. We start off with this piece here, is the water bowl. I wouldn't put too much water in it if you actually have never smoked a hookah before as a first-time smoker, because that will actually dilute the flavoring, which we'll get to here in a couple minutes. It has a nice, lovely little stem, as you can see. I like this piece here. For any of you guys that lived over in the British Islands, like I believe his name is Smoke Rings and Guitar Strings, he probably knows what I'm talking about. It looks like the crystal Richard O'Brien would have you get when he was running that show called The Crystal Maze. Up here, it's got this nice little bowl here where you can stack your charcoals. We'll get to that in a couple minutes too. And this is actually where you stick your tobacco. I like this one here. It's got that cool little winged skull on the back. Looks like something that you'd wear in the Army. Of course, naturally, like pipes, hookahs do have accessories. The lovely people at Tommy's actually set me up. You're going to need to get yourself one of these. This is where you put on your charcoals, which you do because in a few minutes we're going to get down to showing you the actual tobacco you're going to have, because I'm going to tell you right now, you will not be able to light without one of these because the tobacco you're going to use is saturated with the flavoring. Which of course now brings us to the charcoals themselves. I actually asked the guys at Tommy's which ones they said you should get. These are the ones you might want to get your hands on. As you see, I've already used them. They're called Three Kings. It's like your normal charcoals. You can use them, stick them on top. But the good news is they light really well, so you don't have to do several lightings like you do with this. Which is a plus, by the way. And of course, on top of that, you can actually get them, I would imagine, at most of your cigar shops and stores. Or, if you know where to order hookahs, or if you want to find where to order hookahs, we can find that out too. I didn't ask them, because I buy my stuff usually at the stores, or if I want to get nice looking pipes like these, I usually go to Tommy's, or I order it offline at pipeandcigars.com. So, if you want my advice, go to local cigar shops and smoke shops and find out if they sell hookahs. More importantly, if they sell the accessories. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to light it. And that's specifically for Three Kings brand charcoals, because these are actually really good in burning. Good for burning, but more importantly, and this is a warning from those guys, if you've never smoked a hookah before, for the love of God, do not douse them with lighter fluid. You will start a house fire, which also brings me to another important point. Unlike smoking these, I suggest smoking your hookah outside or anywhere where you don't have to worry about anything flammable, because the coals do get really hot, but they're really good. To get into more in depth with that, when you light them, you put about 3 of them here on top. It'll drip all the fluids down here into the water bowl, which is good. And then I'd say let it run for 15 minutes, maybe a good half hour to allow a lot of that vapor and all that to get down here in the bowl. So when you suck on it, you actually get a nice smoke. Also, another piece of advice, seeing as I've already tried it, do not add too much water. It dilutes the flavor, and then it just tastes like really weak tobacco that you buy. It feels like you bought something cheap. So do not add a lot of water. If you want my advice when filling it, I'd fill it to at least about here for starts, so you get enough water to cool the vapor off, but not enough that it dilutes the flavor, so it tastes like really weak tobacco smoke. Also, another important feature of this, as you can no doubt tell, as I'm getting it off here without knocking this over, this comes with a nice lovely little hose. Be very careful. The hoses are very well made and constructed, and they got these beautiful wooden tipped endings. My father's got an even bigger one sitting over there. I'll have to show you guys another time, the next time we do a video like this. So that means take very good care of it. You want this sucker to last a long time, and at that rate, you want this to actually be something to add to your collection, something to smoke. It's kind of a social gathering kind of piece, so be very careful, and don't let other people smoke off it. In fact, if you can, and I'm not saying you can because I don't know myself personally, see if you can find other hoses, so that way if you got friends coming over, you can put one on there and you allow them to have a few puffs themselves. The nice thing about the hose is it's detachable, so that way you can pull it off and actually install a new one, just in case you got guests coming over and they're hookah smokers themselves. Which finally brings us to my favorite part of the video, the talking about tobacco. Like I said, hookah tobacco, as you will no doubt discover, very juicy, actually saturated with fluids. And the nice thing about that is that you can actually, like I said, get a good smoke. This here is what hookah tobacco looks like. It's all nice and liquidy. It's got tobacco flakes in it. This is from the Fantasia company. I bought 3 of these. Got the pipe for free. Hey, I didn't mind paying for it. Got these over at Tommy's. You can actually smell this stuff. This is very good. This flavor, of course, living up to the hookah's notorious nature of being a pot pipe, also came with this. Miss Mary Jane. It's not Mary Jane as in, yes, Acapulco Gold, Maui Wowie. No, I know it makes me sound really old for a 28-year-old man, but still, I said it. This is actually tells you what the flavors are on the back. This here is actually guava flavored, and it smells and tastes awesome, which is a plus because you want something that tastes good and you want something that smells good. So if you're smoking outside, it smells like a really fragrant odor. If you like guava, which I found out I do, this is actually a good thing to smoke. However, if you're looking for something a little more exotic, here it is. This is Dragon's Breath from the Fantasia company again. Again, you look here on the back, it'll actually tell you what's really there. I don't know if you can read that, but it's dragon fruit. And last but not least, for the kid and all of us, and again, the guy that works over there at Smoke Rings and Guitar Strings, I'm assuming you're from Britain, so hello, mate. I actually lived in the British Islands myself for 3 years in Fairfordshire. He'd probably recognize this as candy floss, but here we call it cotton candy. And again, it tells you on the back, cotton candy flavor. So when you go out to buy your first hookah, this might be the pipe tobacco for you, for your hookah. It smells good. Smells really good. Very fragrant, very flavorful. I actually like the taste of the dragon fruit. I didn't know I liked dragon fruit, but I do now. And it tastes really good in your hookah. And like I said, a lot of it smells really good and tasty. Maybe you got some friends that like hookahs. You can actually get them into smoking that stuff. Or if you don't know anybody that smokes hookahs, now you can introduce them to a new habit. So, like I said, hookahs, it's actually a good investment. They've been smoked in the Middle East, I'd say, for about 500 years, or as far back as when tobacco was introduced to Asia, Europe, and other parts of the world outside of the New World. So it's actually kind of neat. They look really nice, obviously. They're very pretty. It's a nice, stylish pipe. Kind of like these. I like smoking certain outlandish things, but you know what? This here, obviously, is a little more outlandish than the others. This is not something I would suggest carrying around all the time. It can get broken, or worse, you get one of those dang tobacco pipe thief kind of people that want to steal it, add it to their own collection. This here cost you about 40 bucks. I got it for free myself. It was a gift from the people over there at Tommy's Cigars and Tobacco, so I do thank them again for that. And like I said, it looks really nice. It looks really pretty. And if you ask me, that's all that matters. Because at the end of the day, it's a nice conversational piece. You got something new to smoke. And like Vapor Sode, that episode that came out about 3 weeks ago, you can actually smoke something that looks a little unique, a little cooler, and it actually looks pretty. And it shows people you got class and style. So it also gives you a chance to walk around and show off your new pipe. People know that you smoke hookahs. You're not a drug addict. You know, if they say you are, they're ignorant. Because like I said to my buddy, no, we will never have an episode that he wanted to call The Bong Show. Those are for smoking marijuana. I will not own bongs. They look ridiculous. But I would own one of these. And like I said again, it's a nice piece to have to your collection. So instead of just smoking these, why don't you go pick yourself up one of these? And it actually looks very pretty. You can smoke it. And like I said, it just makes good for conversation. Well, as we all know, we're not coming to the end of our little 10-minute show. I'd like to thank all of you guys again for all the nice things you said. Oh, and by the way, yes, Pipeless Piper, I do got your message, and I'd like to say thank you for saying congratulations. Being in the Army was very fun. It was sometimes very hard. But you know what? The nice thing is, I earned these. On the next episode of the Pipe Smoking Specialist, we're going to be talking about mixing up our favorite drinks with our favorite smokes. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sean Ryan Smith, a.k.a. the Pipe Smoking Specialist, saying we are now observing radio silence.